All right, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. This will be video number 5. We're reviewing from the Charlie Kirk YouTube channel, starting with his oldest videos, bringing us back to the present. This one is called Race Baiting Leftist Crushed by Facts and Logic. Let's take a look.
Hi, y'all. So before I ask my question, I want to clarify a point that y'all mentioned earlier. You said you don't believe in white privilege, correct?
Yeah, it's a myth. It doesn't exist.
Okay. So according to the Bureau of Prison Statistics from last month, 38.3% of our current inmate population is black. But according to the 2020 census data, only 12.2% of our national population is black. So
Right.
if you don't believe in white privilege, how do you explain this disparity?
So why are they in jail?
It has been this way for years, since the 90s.
No,
since before-
why do people go to jail?
Why are black people in jail at higher rates than white people?
That's the question, right? Maybe because they
Yes.
commit more crimes than white people.
But that's not true.
I'd imagine this going down the road of over policing in black communities. So let's see what she says.
They do. So every independent analysis shows that blacks have committed a disproportionate amount of crime. No one wants to say it out loud, but it's true. In fact, in New York, 52% of murders are committed by blacks, 40+% of arson, 60+% of drug deals. And so the question you should really be asking is what drives them to commit crimes? That's the question, right? The real question is, and maybe I can ask you, what percentage of blacks are raised with two parents in the home?
So actually, according to the Uniform Crime Report for 2019, black or African American individuals committed only about 1 million crimes, while white people committed about 4 million
Yeah,
crimes.
so
But that's
hold on.
proportion.
Yeah, how about the proportion?
There's a lot more white people than black people in the United States.
It's a 60% white country and a 14% black country. So you just proved my point. You literally,
So-
so basically that's a
much.
disproportionate amount of crime. It is.
But listen, I want to say, look, you are coming up here and you're asking a question, and that's not easy to do, first and foremost, no matter what. And I really appreciate your question in front of all these people. It's hard. So thank you for asking your question. But let me point out what you just did, and you didn't know that you did it. You switched from proportion to raw numbers.
That's right.
And you did that to make a point that you thought you were making, but you weren't. But look, your issue was that Black Americans only make up 13% of the population, and yet they make up, I think you said, like 38% of the prison population. And then you switched to raw numbers because, so black people only make up 13% of the population, but they commit 40% of all homicides and 60% of all violent crime. Unfortunately, I don't think that's anything inherent in black Americans. That's not what I'm saying. That's just the fact. And what Charlie is saying is, look, we've got to look at why that is. So you're claiming that that disparity is inherent proof of discrimination. So would you all?
Let's back it up a little bit. Listen to this part again.
Yeah, they make up, I think you said, like 38% of the prison population. And then you switch to raw numbers because, so black people only make up 13% of the population, but they commit 40% of all homicides and 60% of all violent crime. Unfortunately, I don't think that's anything inherent in black Americans. That's not what I'm saying. That's just the fact. And what Charlie is saying is, look, we've got to look at why that is.
Exactly. So what Democrats and liberals try to do, and we've seen this time and time again, they're very open about it. They try to frame the given statistics, the given crime statistics, such as these, as some kind of racist ideology against minorities, black people specifically, or mostly with black people, to a lesser extent other minorities. When in reality, what people like Charlie Kirk, and I don't know who this lady is, someone with Turning Point, and when in reality, conservatives such as Charlie and this lady right here, they're just going based off what the statistics are, and they're looking at the statistics, saying, okay, these statistics clearly identify, it clearly indicate that there is a problem within these specific communities, and in this specific case, the black community. And their goal by looking at the statistics and identifying an issue is to try to figure out a way to improve, to increase, to better life in general for people in the black community, right? They're trying to uplift people of all races, colors, etc. So when you get Democrats and liberals who try to frame people like Charlie and this lady here, who point out the statistics as being racist or whatever, it's counterproductive to everybody. Most counterproductive to the very people they claim to be for, in this case, black people, right? Because they are denying the problem. They're denying the statistics. They're denying the problem. And when you deny the problem, you take no steps or action towards a solution, right?
So you're claiming that that disparity is inherent proof of discrimination. So would you also say the fact that there are fewer Asians in jail means that than white people, that there is discrimination against white people? No? Disparity isn't proof of discrimination is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So let me just throw, and Allie's exactly right. What
Allie.
percentage of blacks grow up with two parents in the home?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
less
have
than
it pulled up.
20%. That's why there's so many blacks.
Less than 20%. Is that real? Demographic, right? Institute for Family Studies, it's a .org. Living arrangements of children by race, ethnicity, that's a .gov. That might be good. 7323. So we're talking about black people, all right? Too bad. What did he say? I think he said like 20 or something. It looks like he understated it a little bit, but let's see.
No? Disparity isn't proof of discrimination is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So let me just throw, and Allie's exactly right. What percentage of blacks grow up with two parents in the home?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
less
have
than
it pulled up.
20%.
How do the living arrangements of children vary by race? Can I zoom in? Very tiny. This is in 2023, the majority of white children and Hispanic children lived in two-parent homes, 76.3% and 67.4% respectively, compared with 44.6% of black children. I'm not seeing any 20% anywhere. So he I don't know, maybe he was looking at a different chart or something. But based on this, he's understating it a little bit. But even here, like, look, red line, black children, right? Light blue line, Hispanic children, dark blue line, white children. You can see the massive disparity. And this, no matter 20%, 30%, whatever, this is a massive disparity. And since what? Since 1975, it's been below 50%. Like, I was very fortunate to grow up with two parents. Although, you know, that has some trauma of its own, you know. There'd be some arguments and yelling here and there. But, having a mother and a father is integral to raising a child. It really is. If a child is raised without one of those, I mean, it's going to have profound impacts on their life. Even if you have two mothers or two fathers, as long as you have two people who can fulfill those separate roles, it's going to be better than growing up in a single parent household. So, like, these are the types of things that should be addressed. Not, oh, you pointed out the statistical fact that certain communities commit so much more crime percentage-wise than other demographics. That makes you, this, that, and the other. That's not what should be focused on. Like I said before, that's denying the problem and not looking at numbers like this. The core issues, such as the abandonment, the loss of the nuclear family.
That's why there's so many blacks committing crimes and they're in jail. It's that simple.
And you can see, too, this is a problem for, I mean, you can see the decrease. I don't know why they started tracking Hispanics later, but you can see this is becoming a problem more so for not just the black community. They're actually on the uptick a little bit. 44.6%. up from what 33% here in 95. They're actually on the upswing. You can see white population and Hispanics both dropping as well. Hispanics, not too much difference, 75, 67, but the white population, 89.5, almost 90%, all the way down to around 75%. That's a 15% drop, just about. So it's not a good trend.
The death of the black family, that's why there's so many blacks committing crimes and they're in jail. It's that simple. The death of the black family is why blacks are in jail higher than their population percentage. It's that simple.
May I see your criminology degree? Do you have one?
Okay, here we go again. So this is what, I think 2 videos in a row now. So anytime you start losing the argument, you make an appeal to authority. In this case, I'm in college and, hey, where's your degree, buddy? I'm losing the debate, but it doesn't matter because I'm in college. Did you go to college? No? Okay. So you're right and I'm wrong, but because you don't have a degree and I'm getting my degree, that means I win. Like what is the desired outcome by them asking that? Like what do they think is going to happen? Do they think he's going to say, no, I don't have a degree, you win, and then he's going to get up and walk off the stage? Like, it's so just beyond absurd. It's just ridiculous. Like I said last time, it's just immediately, when you ask that, you are immediately conceding defeat in the conversation, argument, debate, what have you. So, unfortunately, you lose, girl.
Percentage. It's that simple.
May I see your
it's not a good thing for that to happen. It's not about winning or losing. That's not his goal in doing this. His goal is to go out there, have genuine conversations with people, and just keep that dialogue open. Maybe learn from people. More than that, to teach people, and that's why he comes into these arguments and debates and everything. Having reviewed material, having statistics ready, having this a good understanding of the topics he's going to talk about, right?
Blacks are in jail higher than their population percentage. It's that simple.
May I see your criminology degree? Do you have one?
I'm sorry.
No,
Wait.
we've gotta. Are you a
We gotta argue
biologist,
from an
Ketanji
expert
Brown
thing.
Jackson?
No, let me ask you a question. So do I need a criminology degree to be able to understand that 75% of blacks don't grow up with 2 parents?
No.
To be well versed in it, I believe so.
To be well versed in it. What? Let's listen to what Charlie said, and then let's entertain, or let's assess her assumption that you need a criminology degree to be well versed in that.
I need a criminology degree to be able to understand that 75% of blacks don't grow up with 2 parents.
So Charlie's asking, does one need a criminology degree? Let's just take that out. Does one need a college degree to be able to read and understand a basic chart with one number on it? A basic XY bar graph, line graph, what have you? No, not at all. A literal 12-year-old can understand that, and a literal 12-year-old could even understand the implications.
To be well versed in it, I believe so.
Do you
Okay.
have one?
I don't, but I'm studying it.
Okay,
right
but
now.
you.
Oh, she studied it.
There it is. I don't have one, but I'm in college. You didn't go to college, right? It says dumb.
Do you
Okay.
have? Do you have one?
Ay.
I don't, but I'm studying it.
Okay,
right
but
now.
you.
Oh, she studied it.
Exactly. But you did the same thing. You looked at a statistic, and he did the same thing. You
Look,
don't have a criminology
Have you
degree,
even taken
neither
a
does
criminology
he.
course? Have y'all
Hold on
taken
a second. You're doing an argument from authority, okay?
It's a fallacy.
So the laws of physics don't change whether or not you're a physicist, okay? The law of thermodynamics doesn't change whether or not you take a course on it. Answer the question. Why do blacks have a broken family versus a nuclear family, and does that translate to higher rates of crime? Do you admit that?
Why is it that blacks don't have parents, though? Why?
Good question. We subsidize single motherhood in this country through the federal government of the United States.
Yes, and I believe he brought this up with LBJ's Great Society program in the 60s, and that was a couple videos ago. I still need to look into that more. I remember learning about that a good bit in school, but I haven't seen the term the Great Society in over a decade. So I'd have to look into that a little more. You know what? We can do that right now, actually. Let me mount my mic here so I can type. Let's see. Let's just ask a general question. How did LBJ's Great Society destroy the nuclear family? We won't even say the black nuclear family. We'll just say the nuclear family. The war on poverty. LBJ versus the nuclear family. This is the American conservative. I mean, I won't take it as gospel, but what's their theory on this? Go away. Ms. Johnson. Reads what national strategy. Red brains, power quickly and persuade. Okay, don't care. Okay, yep. Intrusive expansion of federal power. However, I mean, that's undeniable whether you're conservative or liberal. The challenge, the next episode. Progress. Okay, the expansion of spirit of the Great Society made Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal of the 1930s. I was trying to think of this while I was reading the rest of the New Deal of the 1930s and the progressive era initiatives of Theodore Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson of the early 20th century appear relatively modest by comparison. Indeed, Johnson's Ann Arbor Revolution represented the most far-reaching legislative Ann Arbor. Where'd it go? Revolution. Represented the most far-reaching legislative transformation in our history. How did it happen? And looking back over the half-past century, questions. Designing their vast governmental expansion to be financed by America's post-World War II abundance of wealth and prosperity. Okay. I'm a Roosevelt New Dealer, declared Johnson the day after the assassination. Kennedy was a little too conservative to suit my taste. Ooh, these are crazy statements to say the day after the assassination. Holy, that's kind of wild. Like stuff like this, saying stuff like this, is precisely. I mean, like if I was alive when JFK got assassinated and I saw his VP say stuff like this the day after his assassination, I'd probably be floating conspiracy theories about the murder too. Like CIA had him taking out all this. Now I don't believe that. Well, I mean, I'm not sure these days after seeing what happened the other day with that old man going, "Oh, I did it," giving the shooter time to escape off the roof. But holy. Americans overwhelmingly trusted the federal government to expand benignly across the continent. Had a generalized recognition. Yeah, the levers. The constitutional limits. Okay. The Johnson administration shifted the governance of the country from a constitutional republic rooted largely in localism to an opaque, vast regulatory state rooted inside the Beltway. Do they make any, like... Are there any bullet points? I like bullet points. It's just an essay. Family. How about that? Go up one. Go down one. Leaving aside the monetary cost, it also has become clear that these programs have contributed to a steady erosion in American family life. Okay, so let's read a couple before that. It all began with the Economic Opportunity Act, which created Johnson's matrix of war on poverty programs. Economic Opportunity Act, I remember that, swiftly passed and signed into law. So was a major tax cut, one of President Kennedy's main economic goals, which helped fund the vast governmental expansion, at least for a time. Even before the tax cut became law, America enjoyed a remarkable economic boom. And between 1963 and 1966, GDP expanded by 6%. Damn, that's pretty high. The growth provided a steady funding stream for Johnson's program. Okay. Johnson sailed to victory over Goldwater in that year's presidential campaign, crushing him with 61%. 61 is nuts. 61% of the popular vote. Goldwater only won 6 states. See, this is what people don't understand. If you ever assassinate a president, his VP but barring a catastrophic failure on their part, his VP will be guaranteed to be the next president. Guaranteed. That's what these nuts out there don't understand. Goldwater only won 6 states. This landslide election also gave Johnson dominance over both the House and Senate, giving him a pathway to passage of more legislative initiatives, including the most far-reaching education bill ever. A beaming Johnson signed into law both the Elementary and Secondary Education Act and the Higher Education Act, federalizing public and private education in ways that have been unthinkable in the American experience until that time, and we see how that's played out terribly. Following those victories, Johnson and his team were the architects of 2 new massive entitlement programs that would provide health care for older Americans and for the poor, so Medicare and Medicaid. No, Medicare and Medicaid. Just finish the sentence. Never before had there existed a permanent and movable role for Washington in Americans' health care coverage. Medicare had about 20 million. I don't care how many people, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Johnson didn't stop there. New programs emerged in a steady stream. Food stamps, arts, humanities agencies, environmental edicts, a new Department of Transportation, and a new Department of Housing and Urban Development, the HUD. The modern welfare state was born. Then came the reckoning. The funding projections on how much the Great Society would cost turned out to be wildly inaccurate. Oh, yeah. They probably didn't account for, like, rapid population growth or something. I don't know. Who knows? A half-century later, the Great Society's price tag had ballooned to a staggering $22 trillion with a T. The annual cost of the entitlements alone, when coupled with Social Security and Obamacare, had helped contribute to a national debt surpassing $20 trillion. $20 trillion. We're encroaching on $40 trillion now, if I'm not mistaken. You'll see it. National debt clock. Pretty confident we're almost at 40 if we have a minute. 37.48 trillion. The annual cost of the entitlements alone, when coupled with Social Security and Obamacare, had helped contribute to a national, okay, I just read that, more than 100% of GDP and growing. Leaving aside the monetary costs, it also has become clear that these programs have contributed to a steady erosion in American family life. Okay, I want them to give me their perspective on how, though. I've already heard Charlie and other people say this, but what's their theory behind it? What's their reasoning? What's their argumentation? This is perhaps the most dismal legacy of the Johnson years, and a sad testament to the confidence of social planners that expansive government could strengthen families and marriages. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Army's suicide prevention effort. I forget what it's called. Where they hold these mandatory meetings, and they bring in the SHARP program. Mandatory SHARP meetings, which is what is it? Sexual harassment and what's it called? Army SHARP program. Sexual harassment and assault response and prevention, as well as their suicide prevention program. Their MRT program, mental resilience training. Right. Army MRT program. Master resilience trainer. So these programs the Army put in place with the goal of, let's just look at SHARP, for example, with the goal of lowering the amount of sexual harassment and assault cases within the Army, right? Within the organization. And since its inception, I believe the number's gone up, right? So it's almost like when you bring in a bunch of people who they're already good people, they're not going to do this crazy shit, and you just tell them, hey, don't do this crazy shit, you're not changing anything. Or if you bring in this group of people and you have maybe one person in there who is mentally fucking ill, right? They're crazy, and they're going to go fuck someone's life up, or they have no control over their emotions already. That just bringing them in and telling them, hey, don't do this crazy shit, these are the consequences of it. It's like, and they're already a fucking adult. They've already grown up. they've already been taught all this stuff time and time again growing up, right? They understand the consequences already. You just bringing them in, telling them, hey, don't do this crazy shit, these are the consequences, This is what'll happen. It's almost like that doesn't fucking do shit, right? Because either they're a very emotional person, they act on their emotions and they commit a crime of passion, which is what most crimes are, right? Crimes of passion. Or they're just mentally fucking deranged and they're gonna go fucking do it regardless. So I don't know. Anyways, got off track there. So what's their fucking reasoning for this? In spring 1965, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, a Labor Department sociologist who later would become an advisor to presidents of both political parties, shared with President Johnson and his team a report he had compiled on the condition of black families in America. Okay, so specifically on the condition of black families in America. 1965, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, Labor Department sociologist. We all know sociology is a scam and it's a fake science. So, I mean, it's tracking right now. Sociologist, the end it. Moynihan concluded that poverty and urban stress were contributing to the fracturing of families. Oh, that's stupid late. Moynihan concluded that poverty and urban stress were contributing to the fracturing of families, resulting in 25% of all black children being born out of wedlock. Moynihan called it a crisis. 25% of children, black children, being born out of wedlock. So he concluded that poverty and urban stress were contributing to the fracturing of families. Okay, yeah, obviously. Urban stress. I wonder what he means by urban stress. I don't know. Poverty, obviously. I don't know what urban stress means. I would need a meaning to that. Johnson incorporated Moynihan's study into a speech at Washington's Howard University that suggested that poor black families should be given a guaranteed government-provided income. Okay, so LBJ took this one study done by Moynihan and went down to a historically black HBCU, right? I'm pretty confident Howard's HBCU, right? And he pitched this idea to a overwhelmingly majority black audience, a young impressionable one at that, that black families should be given a guaranteed government provided income. Okay. I mean, that's smart to do, though. You always want to tailor your speeches, your arguments, your words to specific audiences, right? You don't see that a lot these days with the online space because you're talking to everybody. But this is a smart thing to do if you're going to see a specific audience in person, right? Or your message is specifically for an intended audience. So I can't really fault him for that. But Johnson and his policy team believed that expanding government funding for broken families would help save them. Instead, guaranteed government provided income point. Okay. Instead, it incentivized single mothers to remain unmarried by expanding welfare state programs to Americans who were already experiencing serious stress and hardship. It deepened the problems of illegitimacy. Okay. So instead, these handouts to poor black families incentivized single mothers to remain unmarried. Okay. So there's probably like single parent credits, right? By expanding welfare state programs to Americans who were already experiencing serious stress and hardship, it deepened the problems of illegitimacy, fatherless homes, and other cultural problems. Millions of Americans soon were engulfed in permanent chaos and dysfunction. A plague of fatherlessness ensued, with nearly 72% of all American black children being born to single mothers by 2015. Did it have to be? Okay. Yada, yada. Okay, so this is the crux of the argument here. I wonder if they have any in-depth studies on this, because I think obviously there's a lot more to it. I mean, perhaps this contributed to it, like single parent tax credits and stuff like that. Perhaps there is, perhaps that plays a part in it, but obviously, the issue is much more complicated than that, right? I mean, you have to look at black culture. I think Charlie's argument about like the messages sent in rap music, which is a predominantly black music genre, created by and consumed by predominantly black people, right? I think that plays a huge part in it. And there's a number of other factors too. It's just not good. I think when you see you see how some black people when they see a well put together, like, you know, quote unquote proper, whatever that means, um, clean cut, well spoken black man, like take Ben Carson for example. Um, they refer to him as a is that what they call an Uncle Tom, or was that something else? Person perceives their own lower class status based on risk. And these are people who betray their own group by participating in its oppression. Yeah, as an Uncle Tom or something like that. So they refer to people of their own color who are well spoken or successful or clean cut, stuff like that, as like Uncle Toms. It's just not good. It's a very complicated issue. So I think this is just a small part of it. I'd love to see if there's like an in-depth study on it that fuels like this whole belief they got going on, because I really think that's just a small part of it. And if they're going to make the argument that this is like the primary reasoning behind it, like right after this paragraph, they should have a graph there, a line graph or a bar graph showing like the decline, right? That's why I hate these like essays. The consequences are profound. Reliable sociologists and demographers, liberal and conservative alike, concur that children from broken family structures are far more likely to become involved in crime as dependence on government grows. Well, of course. It was 3. Okay. We're living through the collapse of the traditional family. Okay. Yada yada yada. That's profound. Okay. What is needed now? Okay, yeah. So really, they didn't provide proof there. It's just a little bit of background. Nationalcenter.org. What is Great Society? Rod 50 years later. Are there studies on this? Study? I don't know. Magnolia Tribune. Stats. What's this got to show me? You got any graphs by chance? Oh, graphs. That's what I like. That's what I'm talking about. This is the good stuff. Number in poverty and poverty rate using the official poverty measure, 1959 to 2022. What is the official poverty measure? Oh, so how the census measures poverty? Okay. Let's see. Number of poverty and poverty rate using the official poverty measure in 1959 to 2022. What are the different lines? What do they mean? No population as of okay. What are these? What is purple and what is green? Oh, percent and numbers of millions. Okay. So number in poverty and poverty rate using the official poverty measure. Is this just talking about where's figure 1? Figure 1. Typo? Figure. Is this just a poverty rate overall? Okay, this is poverty rate overall. Okay. Yeah. What else we got? Oh, this is figure 1 also. So they're pulled from different studies. Okay. Share of adults age 18 to 55 who are currently married by class. This is 2015 for working class, middle and upper class. Okay. So obviously, as your socioeconomic situation improves, you're more likely to settle down and get married and have a family, right? I think you could ask anyone that and they can tell you that's all we got too. Okay, well, I'm fatigued, so that's as much as I'll look into it. TLDR, this claim that LBJ's Great Society tanked the black nuclear family I can see that to an extent, but I'd like to see more data on it, and I'd like there also to be an acknowledgement that that's only one factor among many.
Great question. Single motherhood in this country through the federal government of the United States.
I don't know what he's
Do you
talking about. But
have a broken family versus a nuclear family, and does that translate to higher rates of crime? Do you admit that?
Why is it that blacks don't have parents, though? Why?
Good question. We subsidize single motherhood in this country through the federal government of the United States. Great question. Now we're getting somewhere. Back in the 1960s, we put forward a program where black women married the government and broke up with the men they were with. Welfare state, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and that has contributed to blacks committing more crimes.
I believe institutionalized racism is your answer, but I don't believe I'm getting anywhere with y'all.
But no, just let me point something out.
I don't understand how she thinks his answer is institutionalized racism when when he just detailed how the government itself, the institution, right, provided. It wasn't even. Well, what was it specifically for black families? I think it was based on poverty level, right? Which maybe if there was a higher percentage of black people in poverty than white people or other demographics, would make it that would make it more beneficial towards black people overall. I don't know, like in no way, shape, or form is that institutionalized racism against anyone, white people, black people, or other minorities. So I don't know what she's on about.
I mean, your answer, but I don't believe I'm getting anywhere with y'all.
But no, just let me point something out. Did you know that it's not white Americans that have the lowest incarceration rate or the lowest rates of crime or the highest graduation rates or the highest median income? It's not white Americans. It's Asian Americans. They have the highest median income. They have the highest graduation rates. They have the most degrees. They have the lowest incarceration rates. And guess what? They also have the lowest single parenthood rates.
Lowest single parenthood rates, and it's a cultural thing, right?
Lowest incarceration rates, and guess what? They also have the lowest single parenthood rates. Okay? So that is true across the board. It's not just black Americans.
And one more note on that. I would say, given the reality of black culture and black society versus Asian culture and Asian society in the United States, I'm actually shocked that we got a black president before we got an Asian president.
Rates. They have the most degrees. They have the lowest incarceration rates. And guess what? They also have the lowest single parenthood rates. Okay? So that is true across the board. It's not just black Americans. And unless you are willing to say that the reason why Asian Americans make more than white Americans or the reason why Asian Americans go to jail less than white Americans is because there is systemic institutional racism against white people in this country, then your argument against black people doesn't really work.
Yeah.
So let me ask you one thing. You said institutional racism. I got a black friend right up here. He's great. He's great. So let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. What can I do that he can't do?
What do you mean?
If institutional racism.
All right, I think that's 2 videos in a row for this too. What can I do that what can I, the white man, do this black gentleman here cannot do? And both times, completely stumped. They don't know. They don't know because there is no answer.
Can't do.
We can do the same thing. All the same things.
What do you mean?
If institutional racism is real, what can I do that he can't do?
Well, you're less likely to get arrested.
I'm sorry. No, if we both commit a crime, he's going to get arrested and I'm not?
He could.
Wait, so we just went through this. Blacks commit a disproportionate amount of crime in this country because of broken families. So give me one law on the books. You said it's institutional. Give me a law anywhere that discriminates against blacks. Give me one law anywhere in America.
You want current or past?
How about right now?
Well, the fact that crack cocaine is criminalized more than regular cocaine.
No. If I deal crack cocaine, I'm getting arrested regardless of skin color. Give me a law.
White cocaine,
Give me a law anywhere that allows white people to commit crimes and get away with it and blacks can't. Does that law exist?
Not anymore. But
because there's no institutional racism in America. The idea of institutional racism is laws on the books.
Just because it's not down on paper doesn't mean it's not real.
I think Charlie kind of misses the mark here. He's trying to frame it within a an established law framework, right? But I think a lot of people's argument is that this institutionalized racism comes from like law enforcement officials or people in positions of power who they go against the law in efforts to discriminate against people, and the people around they either get away with it on their own or people around them protect them and allow them to get away with it, right? So there's an argument like the all cops are bad mentality pretty much revolves around that, right? Even though in 99.9999% of civilian cop interactions you have daily go swimmingly without any issue. You only hear about that 0.00001%. Then that frames them all that is bad, right? But I think Charlie he's a little off the mark here. I think he needs to also consider not just laws, but things like that, you know.
Institutional racism is laws on the books.
Just because it's not down on paper doesn't mean it's not real.
Okay, give us an example. Not
God.
just a disparity. Not just a
God?
disparity.
God isn't, you don't see God?
He's on paper. Read the Bible.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm getting nowhere with y'all, and y'all are not answering my question, so I'm going to end this Q&A right here. Thank you for your time.
Oh my
We
god,
actually did.
that's terrible. So she just runs away. I mean, she literally just ran away. Okay, I mean that's her. She can do that. That's fine.
And y'all are not answering my question, so I'm going to end this Q&A right here. Thank you for your time.
I think they
We
answered
actually
every
did
question.
answer her questions, but I do appreciate. I really, even though she's got an attitude, I do appreciate her courage. I do. That is difficult. That's difficult
Yeah,
to
I
come
mean,
up
it's
here and ask
difficult,
a
but
question, but you can also do it respectfully.
But what bothered me about her, I'm glad she was there. She wasn't being honest. At least be honest, okay? And be willing to be corrected. Well, that was a fun fireworks show to end our time together, right?
All right, pretty good. Shit, I'm kind of shocked by some of the similarities between her and some of the people from the last video. It's literally the video right before this. Kind of shocked by that, but I don't know. It's just a shared mentality between a lot of these people, and I don't know how they all get this shared mentality. Specifically, like the when they're losing the debate, they make that appeal to authority, right? Like, hey, what college did you go to? They ask him, knowing he never went to college, doesn't have a college degree. And I think that comes from a place of jealousy on their part, because they're sitting there, they're in college, they're trying to figure out their life, right? And they look up that they see this person who maybe they disagree with on a fundamental level, and they see how successful he is. They know he is extremely successful, and he's living a great life, right? And I think there's an element of jealousy there. There could be an element of jealousy there, but I don't know. It's just the similarities are striking. I'm sure we'll see more of them going forward. Yeah. Anyways, that's video number 5, I think. 5, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that should be video number 5. Thanks for sticking around. If you did, like, subscribe, all that YouTube nonsense I don't care about. Peace.